This video shows you how to select timber. Now most people know there is hardwood and softwood, but did you know there are different kinds of softwood? Now the places that sell wood are usually called timber yards, and the people there are helpful and will show you how to select timber. But I like to choose my own, and I will show you what to look for and what not to look for. So join me now and let's see what it's all about. Timber is a completely natural resource, so that means it will come with some things that you will find undesirable. I don't like to call them flaws because timber doesn't really have any flaws. Timber is the only material that was ever used in the building trade that was once living tissue. So it comes with all kinds of things that you may not want to include in your project. And one obvious one that everybody knows about is the split. And this piece of split timber that I picked out purposely just to show you what it is, that's the one everybody knows about. The other ones here are knots. This one is called a dead knot. And if you notice, I've included this on the waste side of the line so that I will cut it out and it will be waste. And I've purposely done that so to avoid having the knot there and me having to saw through it, because knots are really hard, difficult to work with. Small knots are okay, big knots like this, you do want to try and avoid them. The next one is another knot. This is called an edge knot, and this, you can see the knot has actually dropped out. These next three pictures are all of whitewood, and typically with whitewood you will get this, and it's called a resin duct. And it's a cavity that's in the timber, and you've got a natural substance inside called resin, and this weeps out. And then you've got another knot here, you've got two together, and this is typical of whitewood. You don't get it too much with redwood, but this is whitewood and it's all included. And then the other one here, this is also a resin duct, but this is an old resin duct and it's been dried up for quite a few years. Now timber is divided into two categories, hardwood and softwood. This is a piece of hardwood, this is oak, and these are softwood. Hardwood is a very specialised piece of timber and it's mainly used for decorative purpose. And in this course we won't be using any hardwood. I just wanted to show this piece just to point out the two differences. So I'll put this to one side. Now onto softwoods. Now softwoods again are divided into two. You've got redwoods and whitewoods. On this side I've got two examples of redwood, and on this side two examples of whitewood. But we use these two and we usually abbreviate the name into reds and whites. Now initially they both look exactly the same, but the main difference isn't visible. The big difference between these two is the durability, and by that I mean whether you can use them outside or inside. And the one that you should always try and use outside are reds. Whites on this side are mainly used for structural timbers. This piece here is a piece of floorboard. It's tongue and groove, so that's what you would class as a structural piece of wood. This one here, this is a 6x2 joist, so again that's structural, and you would get a joist and you would get tongue and groove board that fits across it like that. Redwoods, on the other hand, are more durable for outside use. They are considerably better at weathering than whites. The main difference between these two woods visually is that the white wood is more bland in colour than the reds, which have got this feature in them, which is like a pinky brownish cast which runs along the grain. This will become more prominent in time as the timber absorbs ultraviolet. Now, it looks like this is more inferior than this because there are prominent knots here, but that doesn't really make any difference. A knot in a piece of timber isn't really a flaw. If it's something that it's just cosmetic, then you may want to select timber that doesn't have any flaws in it, but you will struggle actually to find a decent length of timber which hasn't got any knots in. Having said that, this piece again is tongue and groove, but this is V-jointed, and this is produced to use on gates, on a garden gate. Again, it's got this colour in the grain, just slightly, just very subtle, but it has got a slight colour rather than white woods. So that's what we pick up on visually. When we handle these two timbers, we'll notice that reds have a nicer, smoother, silkier feel than whites. Now, cost-wise, you will pay more for reds than whites. Cost might be a thing that you need to consider. Even though you're using something outside, you may still want to use whites, but you'll have to bear in mind that the durability won't be as good. So just to recap, reds are a better quality timber than whites. Reds therefore will be more expensive than whites. Reds are better for internal woodwork. They give a much better finish if paint is a consideration for you than whites. Whites are mainly used for structural items like flooring, joists, that kind of thing. This is typically what you would come across in a timber supplier's, or what's termed sometimes as a wood yard. Here you see every selection of timber you could ever need. There are square section redwood at the bottom, there are skirting boards in the middle and mouldings at the top. Some of these are hardwood, some are softwood. The vast majority are all redwood, so that means they're suitable for internal joinery. Any kind of whitewood is always stored outside under cover. It's not stored as with redwood.